It's the second and final week of the battle rounds and the process of the not so natural selection continues. Hi, my name is Dr. Dan and I'm thrilled you've chosen to tune in to the 5th episode of The Fifth Chair. Each week I'm reviewing select performances from the 3rd season of The Voice Australia, and I hope you're enjoying the opportunity to look at the TV show through the lens of a contemporary singing voice specialist. In this case, that's me. Before we dive into the week's review, I want to invite you to subscribe to my free email list. Each month I'll send you heaps of free stuff, including video singing tips, articles on voice, and super specials from my online store that'll save you heaps. It's easy to join. Simply visit djarts.com.au, fill in the form and hit the sign up button. It's really that easy, and, did I mention, it's completely free. I'm starting my review this week with a performance that I really enjoyed. Lionel and Sabrina were paired up and given the song Beauty and the Beast from the cinematic movie of the same name. Both contestants approached this tune with energy and the mutual respect required when singing a duet. This being said, I want to use this piece to highlight something that I often find myself saying to my students, and that is, don't sing the notes that aren't there. In order to highlight what I'm getting at, have a listen to Celine, Dion and Peabo Bryson sing this Disney musical classic. Now, listen to Lionel and Sabrina's performance from Sunday night's show. On the surface of it, both performances are excellent, and our 2014 contestants get extra credit for doing it live. But there's still no mistaking that the 1991 version displays a class above. Specifically, Celine Dion and Peabo Bryson sing less notes. Essentially, they allowed the splendour of the melody to sing itself. Young singers, take note, less is more. Yes, it is harder to sing a single note and sustain it with breath and tone. And yes, it is tempting to sing every song with multiple unwritten notes in a Christina Aguilera pop R&B way. But look, it requires a mature, self-secure vocalist to not sing more than is required and trust the craftsmanship of the songwriter. By all means, give a song your own interpretation, but don't smother the melody with all your extra notes just because you don't know how to sing a single note with tone and maturity. Lionel and Sabrina's performance was good, but they could have taken it to a whole other level simply by singing less. Over the past few weeks, I've been asked by students and colleagues for my so-called real opinion about the level of talent in this year's show. And I find myself responding to this question with two answers. Two answers that on the surface seem to contradict each other, but two answers that are nonetheless equally true. My first answer is provided as a singing teacher who wants to see each and every voice, regardless of experience or perceived levels of talent, reach their full potential as artists on a never-ending, lifelong learning journey. And therefore, my first answer is they're all great and deserve applause for putting it out there on a national stage. My second answer is as a singing teacher who has worked with professional vocalists for the past 2 decades. I know what it takes to perform as a professional artist over the breadth of a career. Years, not months. So my second answer is that the general water level of this year's talent is high amateur at best. This, of course, is a generalisation. There have been some standout performances and I'll highlight another at the end of this episode as my pick of the week. But what I'm getting at here is that the 0 to hero in 3 months process of the TV talent show does not automatically mean that you're ready for a career in the music industry. In order to drive home my point, please have a listen to Blake and Elijah's performance of Good Riddance. This performance of the Green Day piece is what many would refer to as amateur hour. These young men could not have been given an easier song. In its original key of G major, the lads only need to cover a melody that spans an octave, E4 to E5. And yet, both performers really struggled to make the melody work for them. In my humble opinion, neither performer deserved to move through to the showdown rounds. Now allow me to stress that I would welcome the opportunity to work with either of these guys. Do they show promise? Yes. Can they develop into the professional singers that both aspire to be? Absolutely, but as it stands, neither singer has what it takes right now to perform professionally to a high standard. Now I know you may disagree with me and my assessment of the artistic water level, and that's okay, I'm only one guy with an opinion. But if you do disagree with me, I challenge you to listen back to all the performances as audio only. And if that doesn't convince you of my position, then I encourage you to hit the venues in your local town and city and seek out live music performances. There are thousands of singers right across the country that perform week in and week out whose water level is peaking at pro vocal. Do yourself a massive artistic favour and educate your ears with a standard way above what your TV screen dishes out. Dr. Dan's Top 8 lost another performer this week. Now in my defence, I was always going to lose one of my choices when the program producers paired Kat Jade and Hayley Jensen. The girls sang Katy Perry's Raw, and despite my personal vote leaning towards Hayley as the more polished professional voice, she was the singer who was cut from the show. Now how she didn't receive a save from one of the judges, especially when you consider the voices that have been saved to date, well, only the program producers know the answer to that little mystery. So this leaves my top 8 as a top 6. If you've been following the Fifth Chair episodes closely, you've probably already gathered that I'm not a massive fanboy of TV talent shows. And as I've just highlighted, I'm even less enamoured with amateur talent being packaged to look and sound professional. This being said, these programs occasionally broadcast performances worth watching, and my pick of the week falls into this category. And this week, I'm giving my pick to Matt and Soli's performance of Ordinary People. Specifically, I thought that the way both singers built the dynamics of the piece allowed us as an audience to be wooed by their musical interpretation. Yes, even the melismatic vocal gymnastics, which were in keeping with the genre. Matt received the win, but Soli most certainly deserved the save. Nice job, guys. So until next week, when we'll take it up a notch and cull our numbers even further during the showdown rounds, I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.